Welcome back to the audiobook shelf. We hope you enjoy the book, and please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to get our latest content. Please enjoy. Crisis Leadership: Navigating Uncertainty with Confidence. Presented by Theo E. David from the audiobook shelf. Introduction. In an unpredictable world, the capacity to lead effectively during a crisis is one of the most valuable skills a leader can possess. Crises test the resilience, adaptability, and foresight of individuals and organizations alike. Whether the challenge is a natural disaster, a public relations issue, or a financial downturn, navigating through such moments with confidence can mean the difference between recovery and irreparable damage. This book is designed to equip leaders with the tools and strategies they need to confront uncertainty head-on, maintain composure under pressure, and make informed decisions that guide their teams toward stability. We will explore practical methods for identifying potential risks, communicating effectively during high-stress situations, and fostering a culture of trust and collaboration. Crisis leadership is not just about responding to problems. It's about anticipating them, preparing for them, and leveraging the opportunities they often bring. When approached strategically, a crisis can become a catalyst for growth and innovation, helping leaders to not only survive but thrive in the face of adversity. Chapter 1. Understanding the nature of crises. Every crisis is unique, but all share certain characteristics that can provide insight into how to handle them. A crisis is typically marked by three core elements: surprise, a threat to critical goals, and a short time frame for response. Understanding these elements is crucial for leaders aiming to manage crises effectively. Surprise often catches even the most prepared organizations off guard. It could be an unexpected shift in market dynamics, a cybersecurity breach, or a sudden natural disaster. The first step in managing a crisis is recognizing its onset quickly and accurately. Leaders must remain vigilant, identifying weak signals that may indicate trouble before it fully manifests. The second element is the threat to critical goals. A crisis can jeopardize an organization's operations, reputation, or financial stability. Understanding what is at risk allows leaders to prioritize their actions and allocate resources effectively. It's important to distinguish between urgent issues and those that can wait, ensuring that immediate threats are addressed first. Lastly, time pressure is a defining characteristic of crises. Decisions must often be made with limited information and under extreme stress. Leaders who excel in these moments possess the ability to remain calm, gather as much data as possible, and rely on their training and experience to guide their choices. Developing these skills before a crisis arises is essential. By understanding the nature of crises, leaders can better prepare themselves and their teams to face challenges head-on. Preparation involves not only having contingency plans in place, but also fostering a mindset of adaptability and resilience. Chapter 2. The Foundations of Effective Crisis Leadership. Effective crisis leadership begins long before a crisis emerges. Leaders who succeed in navigating uncertainty often share common traits, strategies, and preparation that allow them to remain composed and decisive in high-pressure situations. This chapter delves into the core principles that underpin successful crisis leadership and offers actionable steps to cultivate these capabilities. Developing emotional intelligence. At the heart of effective leadership lies emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's emotions while influencing and connecting with others. During a crisis, emotional intelligence becomes even more critical. It enables leaders to maintain calm, inspire confidence in their teams, and make rational decisions despite high stress and uncertainty. The first step to developing emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Leaders must understand their emotional triggers and stress responses to prevent these from clouding judgment during a crisis. For instance, a leader who becomes overly reactive under pressure might unintentionally escalate the situation or create a sense of panic among team members. Practicing mindfulness and reflective exercises can help leaders identify their emotional patterns and respond more constructively. Equally important is empathy, the ability to understand the emotions and perspectives of others. A crisis affects people at all levels, from frontline employees to stakeholders. Empathy allows leaders to address concerns effectively, provide reassurance, and make decisions that consider the well-being of all involved. Cultivating empathy involves active listening, open communication, and a genuine commitment to understanding the challenges faced by others. Building a crisis-ready culture. No leader can face a crisis alone. The strength of a team and organizational culture plays a pivotal role in determining how well a crisis is managed. A crisis-ready culture is one where preparedness, trust, and collaboration are ingrained into daily operations. The foundation of such a culture lies in clear communication. Leaders should prioritize transparency, ensuring that team members are informed about potential risks and the organization's preparedness plans. Regularly discussing what-if scenarios and encouraging feedback can create an environment where employees feel involved and valued. When a crisis does occur, this transparency fosters trust, making it easier for teams to rally together and follow leadership directives. In addition, fostering collaboration is essential. Teams that are used to working together effectively in normal circumstances will find it easier to coordinate during a crisis. Leaders can encourage collaboration by breaking down silos within the organization, promoting cross-departmental projects, and creating opportunities for employees to practice problem-solving together. The importance of flexibility and adaptability. One of the defining traits of successful crisis leaders is their ability to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances. Flexibility allows leaders to pivot strategies when initial plans prove ineffective, while adaptability enables them to embrace new realities and find opportunities within challenges. Cultivating flexibility starts with encouraging a mindset of continuous learning. Leaders should actively seek out knowledge, whether by studying past crises, participating in simulation exercises, or staying informed about trends and emerging risks. This proactive approach ensures they are equipped with a broad range of strategies and perspectives when a crisis strikes. Adaptability, on the other hand, requires leaders to remain open to change. During a crisis, clinging to old methods or resisting new approaches can hinder progress. Leaders must be willing to experiment, take calculated risks, and pivot as necessary. For example, an organization facing a supply chain disruption might need to explore alternative suppliers or adjust product offerings to align with available resources. Decision-making under pressure. The ability to make sound decisions under pressure is a hallmark of effective crisis leadership. In such moments, leaders are often required to act quickly, sometimes with incomplete information and high stakes. To navigate this challenge, a structured approach to decision-making is invaluable. One useful method is the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. This framework, developed by military strategist John Boyd, emphasizes the importance of gathering information, assessing the situation, making a decision, and acting swiftly. By cycling through these steps repeatedly, leaders can remain responsive to changing circumstances while avoiding paralysis by analysis. Another key aspect of decision-making during a crisis is prioritization. Leaders must identify which issues demand immediate attention and which can be addressed later. A common pitfall is attempting to solve every problem simultaneously, which can lead to resource depletion and ineffective outcomes. Instead, focusing on the most critical threats and delegating lesser tasks can ensure that efforts are aligned with organizational goals. Finally, it is essential to remain calm and composed. Emotional decision-making can lead to impulsive actions that worsen the situation. Leaders should take a moment to breathe, consult trusted advisors, and evaluate the potential consequences of their choices before proceeding. The role of communication. In any crisis, communication is one of the most powerful tools a leader has at their disposal. Clear, consistent, and empathetic communication can prevent misinformation, reduce anxiety, and build trust among stakeholders. Effective crisis communication begins with clarity. Leaders should provide accurate, straightforward information about the situation, the steps being taken to address it, and what is expected of team members. Avoiding jargon and overly complex explanations ensures that messages are understood by all audiences. Consistency is equally important. Conflicting messages can lead to confusion and erode trust. Leaders should establish a centralized communication process, designating specific individuals or teams to handle messaging. This approach helps maintain alignment and ensures that everyone receives the same information. Empathy should be at the forefront of all crisis communication. Acknowledging the concerns and emotions of stakeholders demonstrates that their well-being is a priority. For example, a company facing layoffs might explain the reasoning behind the decision while offering support services for affected employees. This approach not only mitigates backlash, but also strengthens long-term relationships. Leveraging technology for crisis management. Technology has revolutionized the way leaders prepare for and respond to crises. From real-time data analytics to communication platforms, leveraging technology can significantly enhance a leader's ability to manage uncertainty. One of the most valuable tools is data analytics. By monitoring key metrics and trends, leaders can identify potential risks before they escalate. For instance, a sudden spike in customer complaints or supply chain disruptions could signal underlying issues that require immediate attention. Investing in predictive analytics tools can provide leaders with actionable insights, enabling proactive decision-making. Communication platforms are another essential resource. Tools like video conferencing, instant messaging, and collaborative software allow teams to stay connected and coordinated, even in remote or high-stress environments. During a crisis, these platforms can facilitate rapid information sharing, ensuring that everyone is aligned and informed. Finally, simulation and training technologies offer opportunities to practice crisis response in a controlled environment. Virtual reality scenarios, for example, can immerse leaders and teams in realistic simulations, helping them refine their skills and build confidence. Learning from past crises. Every crisis presents an opportunity for growth and learning. Reflecting on past challenges can provide valuable insights into what worked, what didn't, and how future responses can be improved. Leaders should conduct a thorough post-crisis review, involving all relevant stakeholders. This process should include an honest evaluation of decisions made, actions taken, and outcomes achieved. Identifying both successes and shortcomings allows leaders to refine their strategies and prepare more effectively for future crises. Documenting lessons learned is equally important. Creating a repository of case studies, best practices, and action plans ensures that institutional knowledge is preserved and accessible to future leaders. For example, a company that successfully navigated a cybersecurity breach could compile a detailed report outlining its response, providing a valuable resource for handling similar incidents in the future. Lastly, leaders should remain humble and open to feedback. No crisis response is perfect, and there is always room for improvement. Seeking input from team members, stakeholders, and external experts can provide fresh perspectives and uncover blind spots that may have been overlooked. By building a strong foundation in emotional intelligence, fostering a crisis-ready culture, and leveraging technology and communication effectively, leaders can equip themselves to face uncertainty with confidence. Preparedness, adaptability, and a commitment to continuous learning are the cornerstones of successful crisis leadership. Chapter 3. The Art of Anticipation, Preparing for the Unknown. Preparation is the cornerstone of effective crisis leadership. While no one can predict every possible scenario, proactive planning and foresight can significantly reduce the impact of unexpected challenges. Anticipating crises involves identifying potential risks, creating actionable plans, and fostering an organizational culture that prioritizes readiness. In this chapter, we explore the strategies and tools leaders can use to prepare for the unknown. Understanding risk landscapes. Every organization operates within a unique risk environment. Factors such as industry, geographic location, and organizational structure all contribute to the types of crises a leader may face. To prepare effectively, leaders must develop a comprehensive understanding of their risk landscape. Start by conducting a thorough risk assessment. This process involves identifying potential threats, evaluating their likelihood, and assessing their potential impact on the organization. Common categories of risks include operational, financial, reputational, legal, and environmental. For example, a tech company might prioritize risks related to cybersecurity breaches, while a manufacturing firm might focus on supply chain disruptions. Once risks are identified, leaders should create a risk matrix to prioritize their efforts. This matrix typically includes two dimensions: the probability of a risk occurring and the severity of its impact. High probability, high impact risks should receive the most attention, with mitigation strategies and contingency plans developed accordingly. Scenario planning and simulations. One of the most effective ways to prepare for a crisis is through scenario planning. This involves imagining various crisis scenarios and developing detailed response plans for each. By exploring different possibilities, leaders can identify vulnerabilities, test their strategies, and build confidence in their ability to respond. Begin by selecting a range of scenarios that cover likely and extreme events. For example, a retail business might plan for scenarios such as a major data breach, a sudden drop in consumer demand, or a natural disaster that disrupts operations. For each scenario, outline the potential consequences, key decisions that would need to be made, and the resources required for response. Simulations take scenario planning a step further by immersing leaders and teams in realistic crisis situations. These exercises can range from tabletop discussions to full-scale drills involving multiple departments. The goal is to test the organization's crisis response capabilities, identify gaps, and refine plans as needed. Regularly conducting simulations ensures that everyone is familiar with their roles and responsibilities, reducing confusion and delays during a real crisis. Building resilience into operations. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from adversity. For organizations, resilience means having systems and processes in place that allow for continuity even in the face of disruption. Leaders play a critical role in embedding resilience into their operations. One key aspect of operational resilience is diversification. Over-reliance on a single supplier, market, or technology increases vulnerability to crises. Leaders should identify areas where diversification is needed and take proactive steps to reduce dependency. For instance, a company heavily reliant on a single supplier for raw materials might establish relationships with alternative suppliers to ensure continuity in case of disruption. Another component of resilience is redundancy. While often viewed as costly, having backup systems, resources, and personnel can be a lifesaver during a crisis. Examples include maintaining reserve inventory, cross-training employees to perform multiple roles, and investing in fail-safe technologies. Finally, leaders should establish robust monitoring systems to detect early warning signs of potential crises. This might involve tracking key performance indicators, monitoring social media for emerging reputational issues, or investing in sensors that detect equipment failures. The earlier a problem is identified, the more time there is to respond effectively. The role of crisis management teams. A well-prepared crisis management team, CMT, is essential for effective crisis response. This team is responsible for coordinating efforts, making critical decisions, and ensuring that the organization navigates the crisis successfully. Building a strong CMT starts with selecting the right members. The team should include individuals with diverse expertise, such as operations, communications, legal, and human resources. It's also important to have representatives from different levels of the organization to ensure a holistic perspective. Once the team is established, leaders should define clear roles and responsibilities. For example, one member might be responsible for gathering and analyzing data, while another handles external communication. Establishing a chain of command ensures that decision-making is streamlined and confusion is minimized during high-pressure situations. Regular training is crucial for keeping the CMT prepared. This includes participating in simulations, reviewing crisis response plans, and staying up to date on emerging risks. Leaders should also encourage team members to develop their individual crisis management skills, such as decision-making under pressure and effective communication. The psychological aspects of crisis preparation. Crises are as much a test of psychological resilience as they are of operational readiness. Preparing for the mental and emotional challenges of a crisis is just as important as developing response plans. For leaders, maintaining composure under pressure is critical. This requires cultivating a mindset of confidence and self-control. Techniques such as mindfulness, deep breathing, and visualization can help leaders stay calm and focused during stressful situations. Additionally, seeking mentorship or coaching can provide valuable guidance on navigating the psychological demands of leadership. It's also important to prepare teams for the emotional impact of a crisis. Leaders should foster an environment of psychological safety, where employees feel comfortable expressing their concerns and seeking support. Offering resources such as counseling services and stress management workshops can help teams build resilience and maintain productivity during challenging times. Communicating the preparedness vision. Preparation efforts are most effective when the entire organization is aligned with the leader's vision. Communicating the importance of crisis preparedness and involving employees in the process can foster a shared sense of responsibility. Start by articulating a clear preparedness vision. Explain why readiness is a priority and how it aligns with the organization's values and goals. Use concrete examples to illustrate the potential benefits of preparation, such as minimizing financial losses or protecting the organization's reputation. Leaders should also involve employees in preparedness activities. This might include participating in scenario planning exercises, contributing ideas for risk mitigation, or volunteering for roles on the crisis management team. When employees feel engaged and empowered, they are more likely to take ownership of their roles during a crisis. Finally, recognize and celebrate progress. Acknowledging the efforts of individuals and teams reinforces the importance of preparation and motivates continued engagement. For example, a leader might highlight the successful completion of a crisis simulation during a company-wide meeting or share stories of how preparation efforts have paid off in the past. Overcoming barriers to preparation. Despite the clear benefits of preparation, many organizations struggle to prioritize it. Barriers such as limited resources, competing priorities, and complacency can hinder readiness efforts. Leaders must address these challenges head-on to ensure their organizations are equipped to handle crises. One common barrier is the perception that preparation is too costly or time-consuming. Leaders can overcome this by framing preparedness as an investment rather than an expense. Highlighting the potential costs of inaction, such as lost revenue or reputational damage, can help build support for readiness initiatives. Another challenge is complacency, particularly in organizations that have not experienced a major crisis in recent years. Leaders should emphasize that crises can happen to anyone, often when least expected. Sharing case studies of similar organizations that have faced challenges can help drive home the importance of preparation. Competing priorities can also divert attention from preparedness efforts. To address this, leaders should integrate readiness into existing processes and routines. For example, risk assessments could be incorporated into annual strategic planning sessions, or crisis response training could be included as part of onboarding for new employees. By anticipating risks, planning for various scenarios, and fostering a culture of resilience, leaders can position their organizations to weather any storm. Preparation is not just about protecting the organization, it's about creating a foundation for growth, innovation, and success in the face of uncertainty. Chapter 4. Leading through the storm, crisis response and action. When a crisis strikes, preparation transforms into action. The ability to lead effectively during a crisis hinges on making swift, informed decisions and guiding teams through the storm with clarity and confidence. In this chapter, we examine the core components of successful crisis response, including decision-making strategies, team management, and the role of transparency. Taking control with decisive action. In the initial stages of a crisis, hesitation can exacerbate the problem. Effective leaders must act decisively to stabilize the situation and prevent further escalation. However, decisive action does not mean acting impulsively, it requires balancing speed with strategic thinking. To achieve this balance, leaders should rely on their preparation and prioritize gathering relevant information. Assess the situation quickly by identifying the scope of the crisis, the immediate risks, and the available resources. While it may not be possible to have all the details at the outset, focusing on the most critical information can guide early decisions. Once a course of action is determined, communicate it clearly to all stakeholders. Ambiguity can lead to confusion and inaction, so ensure that instructions are direct, concise, and accessible to everyone involved. For example, during a product recall, a leader might issue a statement outlining the issue, the steps being taken to resolve it, and the expected timeline. Finally, remain flexible. Crises are dynamic, and new information may require adjustments to the initial plan. Leaders must monitor developments closely, reevaluate their strategies, and be prepared to pivot as needed. Keeping teams focused and engaged. A crisis can create chaos within an organization, testing the cohesion and morale of teams. Leaders must step up as anchors, providing stability and ensuring that everyone remains focused on their roles and responsibilities. The first priority is communication. Frequent updates keep teams informed and reduce uncertainty. Leaders should establish regular check-ins to share progress, address concerns, and reinforce key objectives. For example, a daily briefing during a cybersecurity incident can ensure that everyone understands the latest developments and their part in the response. Empathy is also crucial during this time. Crises often place significant emotional and mental strain on employees. Leaders should acknowledge these challenges and create a supportive environment. Simple gestures, such as expressing gratitude or offering flexible work arrangements, can go a long way in maintaining morale. Delegation is another key aspect of team management during a crisis. Leaders cannot do everything themselves, and attempting to micromanage can lead to burnout and inefficiencies. Assign responsibilities based on team members' strengths and trust them to execute their tasks. Empowering employees to take ownership of their roles not only lightens the leader's load but also fosters a sense of purpose and accountability. Managing external stakeholders. Crisis leadership extends beyond the walls of the organization. External stakeholders, customers, investors, partners, and the public play a critical role in shaping the outcome of a crisis. Managing these relationships effectively requires a thoughtful approach to communication and engagement. Transparency is paramount. Stakeholders need to know what is happening, what the organization is doing to address the crisis, and how it will affect them. Leaders should avoid the temptation to withhold information out of fear of backlash, as this can erode trust and damage relationships. Instead, focus on delivering honest, empathetic messages that demonstrate accountability and a commitment to resolution. For instance, during a data breach, a company might issue a statement acknowledging the incident, explaining the measures being taken to secure customer information, and providing resources for affected individuals. This approach not only addresses concerns, but also reinforces the organization's credibility. Timing is equally important. Delayed responses can create a perception of incompetence or indifference. Leaders should aim to communicate proactively, even if all the details are not yet available. A simple acknowledgement of the situation, accompanied by a promise to provide updates as more information emerges, can reassure stakeholders and prevent speculation. Leveraging collaboration and partnerships. No leader or organization is an island, especially during a crisis. Collaborating with external partners, industry peers, and even competitors can provide valuable support and resources. For example, during a natural disaster, a company might partner with local organizations to distribute supplies or provide shelter. In the case of a public relations crisis, seeking advice from external consultants or industry associations can help navigate complex reputational challenges. Collaboration also extends to government agencies and regulatory bodies. Maintaining positive relationships with these entities can facilitate smoother coordination and compliance during crises involving legal or public safety concerns. Leaders should view these partnerships not as obligations but as opportunities to strengthen their crisis response capabilities. Recovering and rebuilding. Once the immediate crisis has been resolved, the focus shifts to recovery and rebuilding. This phase is critical for restoring normalcy, learning from the experience, and implementing changes to prevent similar challenges in the future. The first step in recovery is conducting a comprehensive assessment of the impact. Leaders should evaluate the damage to operations, finances, reputation, and morale. This assessment provides a foundation for developing a recovery plan, which should include short-term actions to stabilize the organization and long-term strategies to rebuild and grow. Rebuilding trust is another essential component of recovery. Crises can strain relationships with stakeholders, and leaders must take proactive steps to repair these connections. This might involve issuing public apologies, offering compensation to affected parties, or demonstrating a renewed commitment to organizational values. Internally, leaders should focus on restoring morale and fostering a sense of unity. Recognize and celebrate the efforts of employees who contributed to the crisis response, and provide opportunities for teams to reflect on their experiences. This reflection can help identify lessons learned and inspire a shared commitment to future preparedness. Integrating lessons learned. Every crisis is a learning opportunity. The insights gained during these challenging times can help leaders and organizations improve their resilience and readiness for the future. Conducting a thorough after-action review is essential. This process should involve input from all relevant stakeholders and cover every aspect of the crisis response, from initial detection to final recovery. Questions to consider include: what worked well, and why? What didn't work, and how can it be improved? Were there any gaps in preparation or execution? How effectively were communication and collaboration managed? The findings from this review should be documented and used to update crisis response plans, training programs, and organizational policies. Sharing these lessons with the broader organization ensures that knowledge is retained and applied in the future. Leaders should also commit to continuous improvement. Crises are rarely one-time events, and the ability to adapt and evolve is crucial for long-term success. Staying informed about emerging risks, investing in training and resources, and maintaining a culture of readiness will position leaders and their organizations to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Conclusion. Crisis leadership is both an art and a science. It requires a combination of strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, and practical skills to navigate uncertainty with confidence. While no leader can prevent crises entirely, those who prepare diligently, act decisively, and learn from their experiences can turn challenges into opportunities for growth and transformation. The path to effective crisis leadership is not always easy, but it is one of the most rewarding journeys a leader can undertake. By embracing the principles and strategies outlined in this book, leaders can inspire trust, foster resilience, and guide their teams through even the most turbulent times. Thanks for listening, and please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and also click the small bell icon to receive a notification every time a new free audiobook has arrived. Thanks again.